Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hi everyone. In the previous video, I explained that the Quran likens the deeds of disbeliever to a mirage. In this video, I turn to another unsettling metaphor. In verse 40 of Surah al-Nūr, their deeds are compared to layers of darkness in a deep sea, covered by a wave upon another wave, and above the waves clouds. These multiple layers of darkness created such an overwhelming obscurity that if a person stretches out his hand, he can scarcely see it. If God does not appoint a light for someone, the person will have no light at all. أو كظلمات في بحر لجي. Their deeds are like layers of darkness in a deep sea. يغشاه موج من فوقه موج, covered by a wave above which is another wave. من فوقه سحاب, above which is a cloud. ظلمات بعضها فوق بعض, darknesses, some above others. إذا أخرج يده لم يكد يراها. When he puts out his hand, he can hardly see it. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَهُ نُورًا فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ نُورٍ. And for whomever God has not made a light, he has no light. In this haunting metaphor, the deeds of kafir, literally the one who covers, create three barriers that block the light of the sun. First, there are clouds which, according to verse 19 of Baqarah, are heavy, dark, and storm-bearing. Second, there are layered waves that scatter the little light that manages to pass through the clouds. Third, there is the sea water itself, which at great depth almost completely absorbs the sunlight. The salty sea water and the heavy dark clouds symbolize knowledge mixed with ignorance, the perception of truth through the tint glass of human imagination and illusion. The constantly shifting, multi-layered waves symbolize the complex network of endless desire and worldly attachments and the inherent instability of the worldly affairs. The fundamental problem is that the human faculty of imagination perceives the single unified light that underlies all existence as something multiple. This imaginative faculty is like a diseased eye suffering from double vision. Such an eye, for example, sees two vases where only one exists. The greatest and most stubborn of this imagined partner is the self. In verse 1 of Surah Al-An'am, the Quran states that although God created both darkness and light, it is the disbelieving human being who assigns partners and equals to his own Lord. Thus, any thought or action based on positing a partner alongside the one light becomes a darkness that blocks the radiance of the singular truth. The elements of sea and darkness also appear in the story of Jonah, Yūnus, because of his anger and his lack of patience with the decree of his Lord. He was cast out of the ship of the guidance into the deep, dark sea of worldly existence and was swallowed by the fish of self-centeredness, so that he found himself in absolute darkness. In that state, he called upon God and confessed that he was among the darkeners, Zalimin, that is, one who had abstracted the light of God from reaching his heart. The Quran refers to Jonah as the companion of the fish, Sahibul Hut, and owner of Nūn, Zannun. Clearly, Jonah did not own the fish. Rather, he was trapped within it. He must therefore be understood as the companion of the fish in the darkness of the sea and the darkness of the fish's belly. We may even interpret the word Nūn and Nūn not in its common meaning of fish, but in its older meaning of inkpot or inkwell. Thus, the possessor of the inkpot that is the possessor of darkness and blackness. In Surah Al-Qalam, the pairing of the letter Nun with the pen and what they inscribe, Nun wal qalami wa ma yasturun, suggests something akin to ink and inkwell. This blankness symbolizes ignorance or a lack of full trust in God's knowledge, mercy, and power, which is the root of Jonah's anger. Anyone who becomes distressed by the worldly events or the presence of evil implicitly assumes a deficiency in the one of these three divine attributes. Such an assumption diminishes the entry of divine light into the heart. God granted Jonah the blessing of knowledge so that in the midst of darkness we could say, there is no deity and beloved but you. Glory to be you. Indeed, I was among the darkeners. God answered his prayer, revealed him of his sorrow, and declares that he rescues the believers in the same way. This blessing is the knowledge of the light of unity, which is granted to those who walk the straight path of divine oneness. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, verse 7 of Al-Fatiha. Thus, some of those who dwelt in the darkness of ignorance are delivered from it by God's blessing, namely knowledge. God rescues them from the darkness and distress curb. This knowledge comes through the stars that God had placed in the heaven. These stars are the prophets and the revealed scriptures, both of which the Quran describes as light. May we, with God's help, emerge safely from the darkness of worldly depths, the waves of endless desire, and the dark clouds of our own illusions, and may we walk the straight path guided by celestial stars. Thank you for being here.